Whilst reviewing this episode, I was trying to switch my brain off and just enjoy it. Then it comes to writing down my notes for this review, and I realised some of the choices the creators of this show make are, to put it bluntly, terrible. There are scenes with such terrible direction and framing that it comes off as amateur. For example, we have Obi-Wan trying to sneak through this Imperial base. He's knocked out an Imperial stormtrooper. Why not just steal his costume? That wasn't a problem for Luke and Han in episode 4. At least try to blend in. Plus, it would have been a cool callback to his Clone War days where he would wear the same plating as the clones. Then we have blind stormtroopers, because if they're not seeing Obi-Wan in the hallway, well, they have to be blind. Then again, it ties in nicely with Rogue One, eh?
Are we blind?
Tala might as well have worn a neon sign saying Rebel Spy. She was about as subtle as a brick flying through a window, talking to this communicator rather indiscreetly, and when she's confronted by an officer, she manages to knock him out just around the corner and go back to what she's doing. No one notices. Look, I can suspend my disbelief, but oftentimes I feel like this show is trying to insult my intelligence with the way they produce scenes. Some of the reasoning Obi-Wan and Tala used to explain to the other members of the Paper Thin crew is that Leia knows everything. Did I miss this? They spilled all their secrets to Leia in 5 minutes? I even went back to episode 3 to see what exactly was said to Leia.
It all leads to Jabim. From there we give them new identities and get them out. There's a lot of good people risking their lives out there.
Were they all Jedi?
Not all.
We intercepted a transmission on Balnab last year. Bunch of talk of a secret network, a path.
Nothing is really said that the Empire doesn't seemingly know already. And back to the direction and writing, we've seen Reva previously try and get information from people by using the Force. She did it back in episode 2, as well as trying to use it on Leia in this episode. Why didn't she just use it on Tala here instead of sending her away for interrogation? Even when the alarm bells start ringing, instead of being suspicious of Tala, who she has already pointed out, it was rather coincidental that an old man and little girl escaped an Imperial checkpoint.
Is how an old man and a little girl escaped an Imperial checkpoint on your planet. I do like a good liar.
I don't know if you're lying to me or for me, but we'll see.
She just walks off. She says she had a plan of tracking Kenobi if he escaped, but there's so many variables that plan she had appeared more like a backup plan than an actual plan, because she seemed pretty taken aback by the arrival of the snowspeeders. Anyway, Tala escapes with the weakest head slaps ever. Those helmets are bloody useless, but at least she speaks some sense into Obi-Wan getting a disguise, until you see the rather embarrassing disguise. It reminds me of those scenes you see in cartoons where two kid characters try and stand on top of each other with a trench coat to sneak into somewhere they're not allowed to go. It's not like the Empire is on full alert right now.
I want the base shut down. Now!
Then the snowspeeders come to rescue out of nowhere. Guess it was part of the plan, and I clearly don't know how snowspeeders work anymore, as I thought they were going to kamikaze right into the bloody wall, but it seems they can hover. What a ridiculous sight that makes. Sometimes you're watching a TV show or a movie, and a character dies and you just think, yep, you kinda deserve it if you're going to be that stupid. So long, Wade, we barely knew you, or cared. And hey, those snowspeeders, which only used to carry 2 people, can fit 4 people in them now. Handy modifications, right? Then we have Leia's robot being tracked. I don't know when this happened, as Raven never seemed to leave Leia's sight. Whatever. Now, with all these issues in writing and direction, I would maybe be a bit more forgiven if it wasn't such an expensive mess. For a show that reportedly cost $25 million per episode, it's rather embarrassing. To put it into perspective, Game of Thrones Season 8 had a budget of $15 million. Now yes, that show ended on a bit of a sour note, but for the most part the show looked stunning, and it was more of an issue of writing rather than production. Stranger Things Season 4 apparently had a budget of $30 million an episode, $5 million more than Kenobi, but it looks the part and has a running time that's probably 2 to 3 times longer and has its own complex shots reliant on CG. Whatever's happening on production on these Disney Star Wars shows, I hope they fix it ready for The Mandalorian Season 3. Right, enough ranting, onto the positive.
He's already dead.
What I really enjoy about this show is the juxtaposition it uses a lot between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, especially in the opening scene with the Bacta tank. It mirrors the scene in episode 3 where Obi-Wan is trying to call out to the Force to Qui-Gon for guidance, and he hears the voices, and it's flashing between him asking for help and Vader in the Bacta tank. So I do enjoy those sequences. Gotta give credit where credit's due, right? And it also made their last fight look a lot more intense in the way they did the flashbacks. That scene with various characters trapped in amber was freaky, as well as fascinating. I'm definitely going to look up some of those characters. Are they cast and crew cameos, or characters we've seen previously? If you know who they are, why not drop a comment below? I appreciated that Obi-Wan wasn't moping around. I thought we might get this cliche where the main characters are down in the dumps having failed the mission, but no, he just gets on with it. Bravo, no messing around there. We were also treated to some cool Obi-Wan sequences as he controls the water, as well as deflecting some laser bolts at the same time. Although I did think some of the action where he swung the lightsaber looked off, I'm not sure if it was the camera work or the acting, it just didn't seem to gel well together. I'm probably being overly critical of this, so I'll just skip ahead. I'm not sure if anyone else's romance radar is going off though, but is Tala going to be a love interest for Obi-Wan? There's definitely something there. Maybe he turns her down to continue his guardianship of Luke, or she dies tragically in the next couple of episodes. Vader also had another cool moment where he starts to choke Reva. Maybe he got the idea of planting a tracking beacon on the Falcon from her. I think a few fans were disappointed she made it out of this situation though. Otherwise, the show had a lightning fast pace and clocked in at only 30 minutes. By far the shortest episode of the season. With only 2 episodes left, they have a lot to cover. But with the way they blasted through this one, it shouldn't be a problem. It just won't make sense. Obi-Wan and Leia's relationship is growing far too strong in my opinion, so she's either going to have to forget he exists, or get a classic hit on the noggin to forget. I don't know how they're going to handle the fact that the Empire know Leia, and by extension, Bail, are in deep with the rebellion, or the starts of it. I just don't see how they let that fly.
The Empire doesn't take kindly to Jedi sympathizers.
He will come for me.
Oh. Obi-Wan is dead.
2 episodes left, 5 and 6. I don't think we can expect this show to get much better. It hopefully can't get any worse.
Nice try, princess.
I hope you like pain. Time to make those tears real.
But I think 4 episodes in with this quality, I think it's not going to be a very memorable one. And if you're thinking of ranking it in terms of the previous Star Wars shows, this is probably last. Which is majorly disappointing for me because this was the one I was looking forward to the most.